What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Line of the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we're back today with another episode of the DeAgostini Millennium Falcon from Fanhome. And oh, buddy, I am having to skip over a step because I've been waiting for stage 32 for this is the third month. I know that the Todd Father has gotten his stage this month, and so I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we're going to have stage 32 this coming up month. But with that being said, however, I have looked ahead. I have all the way up through stage 48, I believe, something like that, 46 to 48. So I've got some stuff to do, and so I've been able to look ahead, and we're not really going to need the contents of stage 32 until right around stage 41. In other words, sometime after the next episode, which will be in a couple of weeks as we get onto our regular schedule. I've just been doing some extra Falcon and Enterprise episodes to kind of clear out the backlog of parts that I have. I have like 3 or 4 months worth of stuff just kind of waiting to be built, and so let's go ahead and get started with a big chunk of this. And because we're moving on past stage 32, we're going to go ahead and start with 33 and then go all the way to 37, which is going to be basically completing a subassembly while we're getting ready to create the motorized ramp that goes up and down, which is pretty cool. So this is going to be just a whole lot of me skipping over certain parts because when it comes to the whole stuff, we're not going to be really messing with it too much. I want to get all of our panels in place before we start painting and assembling some of these things. As I'm doing the Perfect Grade Millennium Falcon as well on stream with Hobby Time Modelers, I know what we're looking ahead. I know what this is. These are our thrust vector plates, and they're painted, and they're specialized, right? And so I kind of want to wait to assemble some of these parts until we get a little bit later on. And then, so to review what we're missing, by the way, in stage 32, we are missing a set of the thrust vector plates, no big deal, and one small frame section. It's actually a big frame section, but it's not a crucial frame section. We can go ahead and assemble the same frame sections in 32, or excuse me, 33, and then as soon as we get 32, really, it's just going to be, we just need one frame section. So we're going to be skipping over a lot of these parts because I really don't want to mess with the whole stuff just yet because I want to paint it all as one piece at the very end. And so like we'll assemble like the vector plate itself, but then the individual flaps that go up and down, well, not go up and down, but imply that they go up and down. We'll be painting those individually, weathering them individually later on in this build, probably towards the end, or at least, you know, I would say that probably towards the end because I'm really not going to start the painting phase until we have this model assembled. So even after this model is fully assembled next year, we're still going to be working on it for a good deal of time because we got a lot of paint and detail work, and I'm sure we can find some mods that we can do. So let's go ahead and get moving through stages 33 through 37. And this is going to go quick. These are basically just taking frame assemblies, putting them together real quick, and putting some other stuff aside and talking about it. So it looks like we have a lot to do, but in reality, we really don't. So let's go ahead and get started with stage 33. All right, so let's go ahead and get stage 33 opened up. Take a look at some of these parts, and for once, I'm not going to be coming along and opening along the side here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put this away. And because I want to try to keep these parts together in their stages, in their bags, lessons learned, I'm going to go ahead and toss the card for it. I'm going to go ahead and write on this bag right now, 33. And I am going to make sure that I'm doing a better job of organizing and keeping track of my parts, especially if we're going to be skipping over a bunch of sections here. A lot of the whole panels that I have, I wish that I had done that as well. So I may go actually back in between episodes at some point and actually get all of that catalog so I know exactly what's going where. So let's go ahead. I'm not going to pull anything out other than the frame section. And then I will grab whatever screw sets they might give us. Very interesting. Oh, they're just asking for us for screws that we're going to be pulling from the box. So here's our thrust vector plate. And basically, it's this plate that sits right underneath the engines. And then these are the individual pieces that fit in right over here. Once again, as I know with the Perfect Grade Falcon, this model is the Empire Strikes Back version. The Perfect Grade Falcon is the New Hope version, but basically the engine areas are roughly the same. And so I know what we're going to be doing with this. And so we're going to go ahead and set this stage, the rest of this stage, off to the side. All right, we got our button screws here, the black button screws. We need 7 of them. I just grabbed a package that happened to be there. There's probably a few more than 7 in there, but that's totally fine. Now, I get to do something that I haven't done yet, and that's bring this big old frame onto my work mat. And I have not done that since we got it assembled over there. So here are 2 frame sections. Now, I'm going to get these screws and everything off to the side here real quick. And let's grab our frame. You know, I didn't think there's many things that could have been bigger than the saucer section on the Enterprise. And yeah, here we are. I imagine that Kit, when he gets built, is also going to take up a big portion of this. I may need to think about actually raising up my camera a little bit. Thankfully, I have the ability to do so. So, okay. Very simply, we're 39. We're frame part 39, BF 39, or stage 32. Where it would go would be right here. So what we're going to be assembling is these 2 frame sections here, real quick. So we're going to start with this one, and we know it's the underside because you can see the screw fittings coming in like that from that side to this side. And we're going to very carefully grab my PH0. And I'm going to grab one of my screws. And just remember, this model, we don't need to worry about 3-in-1 oil, as this model is pre-threaded, which is very nice. All right, get that lined up. There we go. I'm not going to torque everything down until I have all 3 screws in place. So now I'm going to grab the second piece here. And then I'm going to grab the third. You, of course, can use oil if you need to, if you find that getting some of these screws in place is a little difficult, as that's the whole point. Okay. Now, this is the final screw. Go ahead and tighten these down. And there we are. Next, we're going to grab this frame section, and it is going to go in like this. Excuse me. Like this. Goodness. And I'm going to find one of my screw holes here. A little difficult. I can't quite see what I'm doing. I'm just kind of going by feel, as this is very large. But I'm glad that it does fit on my workspace. Okay. Get that frame in place. All right. So there, my friends, is stage 32 complete. We will eventually come along. There's going to be a radial rib that's going to go in here that's actually going to be connecting in with the parts that we're about to create in the coming up section. So the rest of this stage would be to assemble the frame section that we got for stage 33, or excuse me, 32, and then going ahead and assembling those vector plates. We are not going to be doing that today, so let's go ahead and get the frame out of frame. Oh, wow, that was great. And let's go ahead and move on to stage 33. Oh my God. I am going to leave that on camera. All right, so stage 34 is probably going to be the fastest one today. And that's because we're going to do this. We're going to open it up. I'm going to go ahead and get this separated out. Get these staples out of here. God knows I will hurt myself with them. We're going to grab out our frame sections. We're going to go ahead and do one of these moves. Write 34 on it. And call it good. Bye-bye. So stage 34 is literally assembling the vector plate and putting on the pressure stabilizer assemblies, the fuel pressure stabilizer assemblies, which are the little fins that come out of the back. Once again, we're not going to be using those parts until later on when we're ready for assembly. So we're going to go ahead and move on to stage 35. All right, let's go ahead and get dug into stage 35. So this one has more frame section pieces and some of the lower, oh, I literally just opened it like I would normally. So I'm going to go ahead and try to preserve that as much as I can. Leave that in as much as I can. I'm literally going to grab, wow, Jordan, a couple minutes in between segments because I was like looking ahead and just forgot what I was doing. So what we need to grab is our frame sections with the radial rib, the 4-hole and 2-hole connectors, and that's it. We are then going to leave. This is right where the landing gear goes. You can see some of the weathering on there. And then this goes for the lower portion in between the mandibles. The mandibles. Sorry, that was something, an inside joke. Ian, if you're watching, sorry. Not sorry. But yeah, so that's for parts that we're not going to need until later. So stage 35, we're going to go ahead and set off to the side. And let's go ahead and grab a cup here. Get our connectors put out. I have grabbed our 14 black button screws. And let's go ahead and grab out our frame section pieces. Drop those out. There we are. Now, let's go ahead and lay everything out. It's asking us to start out by laying everything in the order that it's supposed to go into. So we're going to go like this. And then we're going to grab BF01. Oh, cool. That one's going to go, yep, just like that. BF01's like that. And this is going to be 03 is over on this side. Yep. That makes 2. And just like that. There we are. So that's how the parts go together. Let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start with sliding these off to the side a little bit. Let's go ahead and zoom in. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start by taking our radial rib. And I still hate saying that, but it's what it's called. We're going to set this right over the top. And let's go ahead and start at the bottom. And I'll try to keep it in frame so you guys can see. Set that right over the top. Ooh, stay. Get that one tightened down. Grab our next button head, button screw. Get that one tightened down. There we are. Perfect. Now we're going to grab one of our 2-hole connectors. And we're going to line it up with the center hole, just like that. We're going to go ahead and drop one of our button screws in place. That was almost smooth. Almost. What I have found with these is get them up on your screwdriver, up like that, and then go ahead and tighten down. And what you're not doing, and what you're trying to do is you'll see that it's set in there at an angle. You want to make sure that it sits in there at that angle. And lifting up the piece really helps with that. Perfect. Then we're going to grab one of our 4-hole connectors, and we're going to do the same thing. It's been a minute since I made one of these, so I had to remind myself of that whole process. I'm going to go into the corner, do the same thing right here. Once it gets close to tightening down, I'll get it moved into place. Okay. Now I can get it tightened down. There we are. There are our next 2 connection points. Then we're going to take our frame section here, and just like before, the plate sits over the top, and then we're going to connect it up into the 2 holes just like that. Got everything all lined up, pinched together. Oh, would you look at that? That was nice. There we are. All right. And there's that next frame section installed. Now what we're going to do is we're going to basically do the same thing. We're going to grab another 2-hole connector right here. Let's grab our screw. Feels weird not using 3-in-1 oil, but remember, the Falcon is pre-threaded. So only use it if you feel like you need to. But it is unnecessary. All right. That one's put into place. Let's go ahead and do our 4-hole connector and do the same thing we did last time. Get it into its spot. Get it most of the way tightened down. Slide it over. Got it in place. And give a final tighten. And there we are. It's all taken care of. Let's go ahead and get our next frame piece put on. And we're going to simply do that once again by doing that. Very smooth. Very nice. Let's see if I can do that. Oh, not so smooth. Let's try that again. There we are. Trying to be too slick. Sometimes these parts go in real nice. Don't you get yourself something real nice? Well, that's not going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it in place. Get the top one down. That put in place. Tighten them both fully. And there we are. Okay, next up, we're going to grab another one of our 2-hole and 4-hole connectors and do the same thing. Being that we've seen that a couple of times, I'm going to go ahead and finish that, and I will be right back. All right, those are ready to go. Let's go ahead and get our next piece assembled. And we're going to simply do so by attaching it here and here, leaving that offset at the bottom. All right, so there is that assembly complete, and that completes stage 35. Very cool part. I really do like building these little frame sections. It's a lot of fun, and obviously we have a whole top to do still. We got a lot more to go, but this is the final pieces for the bottom, which I gotta say is pretty damn cool. So let's go ahead and move on to stage 36. All right, so here's stage 36, and here is a very, very familiar piece. We should all know what this is. And this is the bottom portion that sits in between the mandibles. And this is really cool. I like looking at this up close, and it is very, very well detailed. The close-in detail is really, really good. We're not going to be really doing much with this right now. It doesn't say to have us do anything with all of these parts. Once again, like most of everything that we've been collecting so far, we're going to be holding these off until they're ready for assembly, which should be coming up probably in the 50s or so, somewhere in that neighborhood, as we start to move on towards getting the top built and all of that. So let's go ahead and get stage 36 opened up properly. And let's go ahead and get this unpackaged. We're going to grab all of the screws. I realized in the last stage, that I did not do that and I had to go fishing. But we're going to grab our frame sections out and grab all of our screws, or in this case, just 2-hole connector. Any screws? No? Okay. So, like everything else, take out that staple. Somehow managed to kill myself with it or somehow. And we are going to write 36 on the top of that bad boy and move it off to the side. Okay, let's go ahead and get our connector out. And let's grab 9 black button screws. There's a lot more than that in here, but I had to go find a package that had some of those from one of the previous stages. That's why I mentioned I should grab some of these screws out as I'm going along and just get them into my container. That way I can just plan to have them there as opposed to anywhere else. And let's go ahead and grab a 2-hole connector. Wow, Jordan, I think it might actually be time to replace that blade. Again. Do that a lot. Crazy. Yeah, definitely time to replace the blade. All right, so here are our frame sections. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set the previous frame section that we created just like this. Is out of the way. And then frame section 5 is going to go like this. And 6 is going to go like this. So first things first, it's like we are going to connect this one up right here. And then into the 4-hole connector right there. So let's go ahead and get started. I got that lined up. Nice. Almost smooth. There we are. And I just see a mistake that I did. I connected this 4-hole connector in the wrong position. So let's go. Wow. Good job, Jordan. Actually, I'm going to leave that one on. Unscrew this one. My goodness. Loosen this one. And slide that over. Wow. Good job, dude. Ah. It's hilarious. I will show my mistakes. Especially when there's stupid ones like that. That's hilarious. It's like, wait, where's that supposed to connect up? All right. And one more right here. Then we're going to take our 2-hole connector and we're going to connect it up right here. Let's grab our 2-hole, or our screw for the 2-hole connector. Do the old familiar trick. Get it put into place. Tighten it down. And we are set. Next up, we're going to grab the next frame piece, which is BF6, and we're going to line it up right here and get it fit into place. So I'm going to go ahead and start right at that 2-hole connector that we just created. Almost got the screw in there. There it goes. And we're going to come down here to the corner. Back that off just a little bit. It didn't want to go in properly. Push that up. We are. Then we're going to connect up into the 2 parts of the 4-hole connector right here. And I'm having to do a little bit of pushing to hold this together now. A little pushing and prodding. This spot might be a good candidate for 3-in-1 oil if you need it. As it is, just a little bit of a tough connection. There we are. And there we are. Wow. Is that it? Yeah. Yeah. So there is stage 36 complete. Very cool. This is starting to get large and in charge, so I love it. Let's go ahead and finish up today's episode with stage 37. All right, so here's stage 37, and we're starting to get into some of the electronics and some parts of just some of the iconic parts. This is the surround, the whole panel that surrounds the lower ramp. Very cool, very cool. They want us to add some details, put some parts, some greeblies on from the sprues. We're not going to be doing that. We're just going to be focusing on getting the frame section completed. We will be coming back and taking some detail work with all of the parts in a later episode. Once again, like I said, as we get towards assembly. So let's go ahead and get 37 opened up. And I got to say, it's really nice clearing in just 5 stages out of the pile, man. This has been, like, it's starting to pile up. But now I got enough that we'll be able to wait. Now I've cleared out enough that we can wait a little bit and get these on a regular schedule again. But it's been fun. A lot of fun getting these built again. So who knows? Maybe I might do another one next week. We'll see. We'll see. It might be 2 weeks from now. All right. So first, let's grab our frame section. Any screws, and there are quite a few. Just want to get everything out. And then what that leaves behind, we had some of the sprues in earlier stages. This is just going to leave the whole section and an LED for stage 37. So once again, I'm just going to write 37 on the top and set that off to the side. So, there we go. I mean, I clearing out parts, we'll see. Now, for this stage, we're going to need the 4 brass screws, all of the 2-hole connectors, and then a bunch of black screws. The rest of these, we're just going to go ahead and set off to the side and put in our screw box after we're done here today. Now, caught myself with the corner of the blade, so lovely. I think I didn't cut myself, but scraped for sure. That was dumb. That goes there. All right, and then our 4 brass screws. These are the longer brass screws, so that tells me these are going to be for radial ribs or something like that. Okay. Get that put away almost. Let's go ahead and get our parts taken out. Get all of our pieces out. Yep, there's a radial rib in there, along with a connector. Very cool. So yes, I was correct in my assessment. It's like I've built, 37 stages of this so far, something like that. All right. So what it wants us to do is take the assembly that we created and flip it around, just like that. Then what we're going to do is take BF8 and set it like this, and then BF7 and set it like this. Now I imagine that it's going to be a two-hole, a two-hole, a two-hole there, a two-hole there, two-hole, two-hole. So, yep, okay, lots of those. Got it. Okay, so first up, we're going to take, let's go and slide these off to the side, bring this back over here. We're going to take our 4-hole connector that connects the radial ribs, and we are going to, one side is threaded, so you just need to pay attention. One side is threaded. When you put the brass screws in, actually both sides of these ones are threaded, but usually when in the case, you put the screw in on the non-threaded side, and then you thread it into the side that has the threads. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this over the top right here. Secure this in place with 2 of our brass screws. And I'm going to go from outside in on this one. Okay. Grab one more of those. That almost like a pH 00, but it's a little too small for these, so there we are. Now we're going to take the other part of the radial rib, slide it into place, just like that. Connect it in with 2 more brass screws. This one was a little tough to get in there, but not that bad. Grab our last brass screw, last brass. That's cinched down. Let's see what I was doing. There we are. Fantastic news. Then we're going to take one of our black button screws and go right into the corner here. Getting that lined up properly. I had to kind of push it out a little bit. And that is secured into place. Now what we're going to do is take BF7 and get it slotted in right here. So I'm going to line up the back. Yep, line that up. Just make sure everything's lined up properly, set in there properly. Grab a screw. Just magnetize my screwdriver so it's a little more tacky than as usual. Get that put into place. Fantastic. Okay, now wants us to turn the whole assembly over. Oh, how interesting. They want us to connect. Very cool. I see. I was like, where are those little flange points? Okay. So we're going to take one of our 2-hole connectors, and we are going to put that in between BF5 and BF7. So, all right, we saw that, but I thought I had a screw in there already. I tried to screw it in. Oh, Jordan. No, Jordan. Let's go to the back point here. Get that tighten down slightly. Make sure that one's put into place properly. Let's grab our second screw before we tighten both down. There we go. A little bit of a tough connection, actually. There, back one tightened down. And then the forward. There we go. Now we're going to take a 2-hole corner of BF6. That's going to go right here. Screw that fell out. We're going to grab one of our 2-hole connectors. Put that right there. Probably should have told us to put these in place first. A little bit better instructions, but whatever. No worries. Then we're going to screw a 2-hole connector. I had to read my instructions there for a quick second. And then we're going to take a 2-hole connector and get it plugged into place right in between here on BF7. I see. There's not like a channel or a little spot where you can see where it goes in this position, but it's likely on BF, whatever it is next. Real professional. All right, I'm not going to tighten that all the way down because I want to leave it a little bit flexible so we can move it. Now, we're going to take this assembly. I see. And I'm going to grab this corner. Probably heard my kitten. She's hungry. One sec, poo-poo. I'm going to start right in the middle. Very good. Connect up here. Pull up on the frame section. Wow. Full of grace today, you guys. Full of grace. Wow. Wouldn't be one of my episodes. This is a bit of a tough frame piece to put in. But it makes sense as it is the final piece. There we go. Had to get the right angle on it. Yeah, there we go. He's tightened down. Okay, now it wants us to turn it over. I see. It's kind of hard to explain, but it wants us to take a 2-hole pin or 2-pin connector or 2-hole connector and connect it up right there. All right, now that looks like the end of these stages, at least for me, for now. So we got quite a bit done today, actually. 7 stages, or excuse me, 7 stages, 5 stages, 33 through 37. And, we obviously left a bunch of stuff not done. And I'm totally fine with that. Once again, I have reasons for that, as I want to paint consistently at the very end of the model, and we will assemble certain pieces as we go along. So, there we are. Let's go ahead and get our screwdriver set off to the side. Oh, my friends, here is the very last frame section for the bottom of the ship. And So when it sits, it's going to sit like this, and then we're going to be assembling the motor for the moving what is it, entryway or ramp goes right here. And so all of that assembly goes in here. And in the next episode, we are going to be creating the entirety of the motorized assembly for this ship. And I am super excited. So that was a big one, you guys. That was a lot of stages. I think the most stages that I've ever done on a part work build in one episode. Damn, that was pretty cool. So I just want to say thank you. I know that there was a million things y'all could have done today. Instead, you spent a couple minutes with me watching me build a model, which I think is pretty damn cool. If you guys have any questions or comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. And my friends, until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world wherever you happen to be. And just remember that the Force is one with you, and that you are one with the Force.